celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Saturday, October 5th, 2019, and here are some of today's trends in the news. We didn't do Fridays because of a death in the family, and may his soul rest in peace. Freddie Liberatore, what a great guy, real old Corona Queens guy. Wonderful soul, may he rest in peace. So we're doing it today. The markets yesterday over there in Asia, mixed. Over there in Europe, up a bit. Here in the States, up. And that Bitcoin still down there in that 8,000 mark. But hey, 8,000 for something you paid a little pennies for a number of years ago, you're doing okay in that club. And what else? Oil, it's up a little bit, but still under that 60 mark, not doing so well. And gold is staying over that $1,500 an ounce mark. Now, we didn't do it yesterday, so today's trends in the news, but we had Friday's papers. And here's how they reported the increase in the stock market on Thursday. Stocks rebound on hopes for easing. Stocks rebounded Thursday after two sessions of sharp losses as investors bet on a string of disappointing economic data would spur the Federal Reserve to continue cutting interest rates. No kidding. I've only been saying this back in January. Disappointing data. The the gamblers, the gambling addicts need more monetary methadone. So when things go down, Fed got to juice them up. And they're betting on that. Job data, rate hopes, lift stock benchmarks. That was from yesterday's and today's news. And here we go. Stocks are buoyed by expectations that the Federal Reserve will continue to cut rates to shore up the economy and sustain the current expansion. Investors are betting the Fed will slash rates as soon as its meeting later this month. More juice into the system, end of story. And that jobless rate, it dropped 50-year low. But the service sector, which accounts for a much larger section or portion of the economy than manufacturing, which was down, was still expanding, albeit at the slowest pace in 3 years. Industries including healthcare, transportation, and business services added jobs. Healthcare and transportation, people making no money at all. It's Slavelandia. The wages were stagnant, even according to the lousy inflation numbers we have that aren't real. All people are nothing more than plantation workers on the multinational plantation of Slavelandia, but this is better than the old plantation system because you don't have to house them or feed them anymore. That's right. Work, go home, take care of yourself, and come back. Work, go home, take care of yourself. No, we're not going to give you any money, just enough to survive, maybe. So the numbers aren't great, and it's being artificially propped up. Again, traders raise bets on lower rates. Traders are increasing wagers that the Federal Reserve will continue to cut interest rates to stave off a recession, following a volatile stretch for the markets. That's all they're concerned about, volatile stretch for the markets. Oh, God forbid the markets should go down. The Buffetts, the Bezos, the Gates, are the other billionaires. Oh, how sad. Oh, how sad it would be if they lost $10 or $20 billion. It's only the very wealthy that are in the markets. And what else do we have here? Perhaps more worrisome, the Institute for Supply Management data then showed U.S. factory activity contracted for the second straight month in September. We knew that, and hit a 10-year low. And the ISM said Thursday that activity in the service sector slowed more than expected last month. It's a slowdown across the board. And they're doing everything they can to pump it up. India's central bank lowers rates as outlook deteriorates. And it has nothing to do with trade wars. It has to do with consumer confidence is faltering as wage growth slows, unemployment creeps up, and more well-known companies and lenders buckle under debt loads. You got a load of debt. You got it? It's the real number is about $270 trillion worth of global debt. Has nothing to do with trade wars. India's central bank cut its key lending rate to a 9-year low and slashed the country's growth forecast as Asia's third largest economy struggles with a surprising slump in consumer demand. Its fifth rate reduction in a row. Has nothing to do with trade wars. Gross domestic product grew by 5% in June to a 6-year low, catching the central bank by surprise. You know, I keep saying over and over and over and over, watch Dr. Copper. Copper is used in everything from heavy industry to high tech and everything in between. And you're looking at copper prices now near a 2-year low. Very important to watch that. So those are the things to key into. U.S. trade deficit widened to $54.9 billion. Guess it ain't working, is it? No. They're taking all our jobs, brought them overseas to slave labor companies, whether it's Bangladesh or those commie countries. Remember how we were taught to hate those commies? Oh, yeah, my generation, the Vietnam War generation. We got to stop them commies. Those dominoes are falling. Before you know it, you're going to have those commies hitting the shores of California. And murderous bastards like Johnson and Nixon and others, sending American boys to go get slaughtered, over 58,000 of them, 250,000 wounded, over 3 million Vietnamese slaughtered, sprayed the country with chemicals like Agent Orange. Yep. Yeah, you worried about climate change? Yep. But it's okay to do business with them. Our trade increased with Vietnam now by about 33% this year. Those commie Chinese, remember we were taught to hate them? It's okay to do business with them. And I'm not saying to be against them. I'm just talking about the hypocrisy. All they want is to make more money. They could care if you have a job that earns you a middle-class life. Get that manufacturing out of there. We need people to work in our warehouses and our slave camps. We'll make all the money. Hedge funds, private equity groups, they never existed when I was a young man. New York Fed to extend operations to pump money into the markets. Oh, they said they were only going to pump it in. It's October 10th. Those repos need more dough to keep their game going. They're running out of it. Give them more. Okay, we'll keep it going to November 4th, and we'll see what happens after that. Alliance chief joins in German chorus of disapproval for Draghi's ECB policy. Europe's top insurers said, quote, "The reason why we're not doing fiscal reforms is because you, Mr. Draghi, are making it easy for people to spend money they don't have." One after another. Even the banksters are against it. Some of them. Old guard attacks ECB monetary easing. Former central banksters claim wrong diagnosis puts independence at risk. A group of former senior European central banksters has published a memo attacking the loose monetary policy of the European Central Bank, which they say was, quote, based on wrong diagnosis. It's always wrong diagnosis. Go back to Bernanke and the Federal Reserve in the United States, how they got it wrong with the Panic of '08. Yeah, but we're not allowed to look at that until 5 years later because we're the democracy of America. Yeah, democracy. Run by the dumbo craps and the repulsivekins. As former central banksters and as European citizens, we are witnessing the ECB's ongoing crisis mode with growing concern. They know it's not working. There's a lot in this. I'm mentioning it to you because you need to listen, pay attention, and understand this. It's ready to explode. All they're doing is pumping cheap money into the system, and the data is showing it's not working because IMF chief takes reins with call to action. The new IMF chief said, quote, "We recognize that the global economy continues to disappoint." Kristalina Georgieva, I think that's the way you pronounce it. And then, fears persist over global economy on dismal data. And then throw trade tensions in there because they always do. Retailer group predicts robust holiday sales in the United States but sounds warning. Yeah, that National Retail Federation. Every year they say it's going to get better. Every year. But their seasonal sales forecast to rise 3.8% to 2.4% after a disappointing 2018. And you know what holiday sales, that's the only thing Christmas counts for. Don't talk about the Prince of Peace anymore. I may get banned from Facebook, Twitter, or Google for talking about Christmas and what it really represents. It only represents going out to shop on Black Friday. And forget about Thanksgiving. Just save $62 on a big screen TV or some other junk you got to buy. And I'm a warrior for the Prince of Peace. I'll fight for peace, but I won't die for war. U.S. shopping mall vacancies hit 8-year high. What a surprise. No, it's not. It's in Trends 2000. I wrote this in 1996. Warned about the pall on the mall, overbuilding, all the same garbage, all the same big companies running the show. No diversity of product. All the same, ugly scenes, looks the same, smells the same, and you buy the same. And of course, the online, which I also predicted, when they were hardly doing it back then because people were afraid to use their credit cards because they would be hacked. But I said, no, this is going to go very big. So the pall on the mall is going to continue, and the lower foot traffic is going to signal it, combined with more people buying online. And now on to some global issues. Baghdad in lockdown after 18 die in protests. Now that's increased since this headline. Thanks to the slaughter brought to you by George W. Bush and all the other murderers that destroyed the country. And you know why the United States is still there, don't you? Oh, no, it's not because Saddam Hussein didn't have weapons of mass destruction ties to Al-Qaeda and that George Bush and Condoleezza Rice and Colin Down the Crap Powell and little Donald Rumsfeld and all the other low-life bitches and bastards, we have to be eagle in his days of identity politics, that led us to war based on lies because they destroyed the place? No, that's not what's causing it. You know what's doing it? Iraq has been trying to recover after 5 years of fighting an insurgency by ISIS. That's the crap that they put out there. It killed over 1 million people, destroyed the place. The young people have no future. And it's being run by corrupt people. And it's global. It's not only that Iraq is in flames. In Ecuador, president declares state of emergency. Ecuador's president declared a state of emergency to confront rowdy street protests. How dare you be rowdy? Street protests and a nationwide transport strike over his decision to end state fuel subsidies and relax labor protections. What right do you have to have any labor protections? You're nothing more than a slave on the plantation of Slavelandia. Now get back to work. Again, I'm pointing this out because it's not only Iraq, it's not only Ecuador, it's not only Argentina, it's not only Brazil, it's not only Hong Kong, it's not only Zimbabwe, it's not only South Africa, it's not only Algeria, it's not only Sudan. It's global. And when the greatest depression hits, it's going to get a lot worse. Sweep of mass arrests in Egypt subdues a protest movement for now. Isn't that nice language? Subdues. They're locking people up. They're beating them. They're shooting them. Hey, but they're our ally. That guy El-Sisi, who overthrew the democratically elected government of Morsi back then, that's okay. We could sell them weapons. They could do anything they want. Trump loves the guy. He's okay. Leave him alone. It's global. The people are starving. They're tired of living under dictatorships. It's one country after another. Turkey's intentions in Syria worry U.S. U.S. official jerk scum slime are increasingly concerned that Turkey will soon mount a major incursion into northern Syria and trigger a clash with Kurdish fighters, who the United States supports. We have no business being there. It's none of our business and none of Turkey's either. Look what they've done to Syria. Oh yeah, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, Obama. I want that guy Assad out of there. I don't like him. Get him out. Get him out. I don't care who you kill. You only killed 600,000. Oh, and Turkey's sending back 2 million refugees. And only got about 5 million refugees and 10 million people displaced. He's a Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner. Leave him alone, Celente. He has that arrogant attitude that people like to swallow his.
That is bullshit.
You got it. U.S. officials credit Kurdish fighters with eliminating Islamic State terrorism in Syria. Could you believe they print this bullshit? And that's why you subscribe to the Trends Journal. Because all they sell is propaganda and bullshit, like the latest piece. Iran steps up bid to disrupt U.S. elections. Iran steps up bid. And here's how it shows the proof of the bullshit. Right in the beginning. The 2020 presidential election is still 13 months away, but already Iranians are following in the footsteps of Russia. No proof at all that Russia did anything. It's our conclusion, our belief. We've shoved this crap down your throat for 3 years. We didn't come up with any evidence, only like the same kind of evidence of attacking Iraq for weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda. Nothing more than bullshit. But they go on to say, and have begun cyber attacks aimed at disrupting the campaigns. Microsoft said on Friday that Iranian hackers with apparent backing, apparent, whose parent? Oh, the Iranian government's backing, apparently. Apparent isn't facts. There's nothing here. You read this story, it's totally empty. But the United States, how many times did they do cyber attacks on Iran and other countries? That's okay. And then on to the presidential reality show. Officials used to verify Ukraine whistleblower account waives filing own report. Oh, whistleblower. Oh, not that kind of whistle. No, the only whistleblowers that they like. Not a Assange whistleblower. Put that guy in jail and ruin his life. Not a Chelsea Manning whistleblower who showed how American troops slaughtered innocent people. Put him in jail, her in jail. Not Snowden, who showed how the NSA, CIA, FU are doing it to us all over the time. No, don't allow that whistleblower to blow a whistle. Only allow a whistleblower to blow a whistle over.
Bullshit.
You got it. Here is the crap that we warned you about in last week's Trends Journal. They're going to flood us with impeachment news. This is the front page of the New York Times today. Text exchanges about Ukraine. New York Times? No, waste of times. Inside, page after page. Again, we wrote about this in the Trends Journal going way back to 2014 when Hunter Biden got the deal. What's Trump doing? He's trying to find out if there was a dirtier deal so he could beat Biden in the race for who's going to win the presidential reality show. This is not a national security issue, as they're making it up to be. And that's why we're telling you that the news is going to be saturated with this. And you're going to be missing the current events forming future trends. This is from the weekend Financial Times. Romney slams Trump over China appeal. President called to probe Biden brazen. Donald Trump faced an escalating crisis yesterday as Mitt Romney, the Republican senator from Utah, the former presidential candidate, a little piece of bullshit crap, arrogant moron who loves power. I'm the governor of Massachusetts. I think I'll go over there in Utah and become a senator. I got those Mormons to vote for me. Who would give a shit what's spewing out of Romney's mouth? Imbeciles and morons. Again, more crap news. Go inside. Biden came late to join call for sacking. European and U.S. officials say they sought Shokin removal at earlier stage. How Trump's attack dogs sank teeth in Kiev. All useless information. And that's why you subscribe to the Trends Journal. Because what we're showing you this to show you the important current events forming future trends that are not making the news and being discussed in detail what their implications are. They'll give you the headline, they'll give you the story, they'll give you the propaganda, but they won't give you where the trend is leading and how to prepare for it. Impeachment debate overtakes Democratic campaign agenda. All right? You're going to be saturated with this news like the useless Russiagate news. And it's very important to stay tuned to the current events forming future trends. I went over the economic news. There's a global slowdown. It has nothing to do with trade wars. They're going to keep pumping money into the system. What does it mean? What jobs are going to be lost? What new ones will be created? What can you do to protect yourself? That's what the Trends Journal's about. Biden fundraiser pace slows. So here's the story. As I said, Biden's gone. There's going to be more crap coming out on the impeachment as it keeps moving forward, of the dirty deals he's done, and Trump's not going to go down. He'll keep fighting to dig up more dirt on Biden. As I wrote in the Trends Journal, who's the sleazier of the two? I mean, come on. So, Elizabeth Warren says donors donated nearly $25 million in the last quarter. Story after story in the mainstream media. The business of fearing Elizabeth Warren. Miss Warren and others who believe the Facebooks, Google, Amazons, and Apples have grown too powerful. Multiple polls indicate Miss Warren's campaign is gathering traction, and the momentum has wealthy donors warning of the Democratic Party bringing it to her nomination. So, she's coming out with taxing the rich, breaking up the multinationals, ending the monopolies. She's very popular. She's growing. I said the Democratic Party is pushing this impeachment thing to get Trump out and pump up Warren. How Warren honed her message. A big story here about nothing. Elizabeth Warren saw the faces of supporters at her earliest presidential campaign events that had her wealth tax pitch needed more oomph. I wanted ways to make the point sharper so they wouldn't just understand it, they'd feel it. This is who is going to be, I believe at this time, the challenger against Trump, and he'll have a tough time beating her. Pocahontas, as he calls her, because she'll get the women vote and she'll get the young vote. And Bernie suffered a heart attack, but he walked out, I'm okay. You're gone, Bernie, bye-bye. You're 78, and people are tired of Bernie.
Bullshit.
You got it. So it's going to be Warren, I think. EU ruling on Facebook crosses border. So now they're saying that if they get banned in Europe for saying something on Facebook, you get banned everywhere. And the reason they did it was because they went after this Austrian politician and called her a lousy patriot, a corporate oaf, and a member of the fascist party. You can't say those kind of things. You're not allowed to call a spade a spade. You can't disagree with anybody in the major parties. You can say that Iran was the country responsible for the missile strike or drone strike against Saudi Arabia and provide no evidence. That's okay because it's coming from the official liars. You can say Iran sabotaged those ships in the Persian Gulf during the summer without any proof. That's okay. You could say Iran is involved in trying to manipulate the presidential campaign, or the Russians did it, without providing any evidence. That's okay when it comes to the officials. I'm saying this because there's going to be more and more and more pressure from the top to cut freedom of speech off at every level. They're the ones that only could sell hate, like the Bushes, like the Obamas, like the Clintons, like the Camerons, like the Macron, like the rest of the sick people that have been doing it. So, very important to stay tuned to this, because censorship 2020 was one of our top trends for 2019. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.